Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lure Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, presented by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us in the racing community. You guys are remarkable, and we appreciate it so much. Mark, episode 181, man. We are winding down the season. How are you doing?
Stop it. That's such sad news. Yeah, well, good things come to an end, man. Rolling right along. Yeah, I'm back up north again. You can catch me in the man cave again. So I'm up in Tomahawk, but I'm looking forward to the bittersweet evening of tomorrow night, man. We'll make the best of it and we'll have fun.
Hard to believe it's already here. It seems like summer should just be being started, and here we are going into the last week of the season.
Well, like I say, when we're at the Tundra race, before you know it, a snap of a finger, man, you're in La Crosse at Oktoberfest. So, yeah, enjoy the ride while you're on it. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's for sure. I want to start this thing by saying thoughts and prayers out to everyone that knew and was related to Humpy Wheeler. We lost him over the last week. What a legend in the sport he was, and we continue to see his work in the sport as we go into the future here. Also, we lost Zachary Yeager too, who was a jackman and tire changer and fueler, I believe. Worked with Chris Buescher for a little bit. Also was on Ryan Sieg's team this year. So he was working with Ryan Sieg there, and we have a Wisconsin connection there. So a couple more big losses here. It just doesn't get easier. It seems like we're rolling down. We had a couple of weeks where we didn't lose anyone, which was nice, but man, we've been talking about a lot of these this year, and that just stinks.
Yeah, it stinks. That last one, man, that was kind of a strange story. 35 years old, and the family said he was missing, and then that's about all I know about the story. So that's strange, but seems like there's a lot of strange things going on. And yeah, Humpy Wheeler, man. Wow, what an icon. He should be in the Hall of Fame for sure, right? If he isn't already, he will be. And
Yeah.
What an icon of a dude he was, man. So, yeah, so sad times here at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Zachary Yeager, I talked about that Wisconsin connection there. Obviously, Matt Noyce, the crew chief for Ryan Sieg. So thoughts and prayers to the 39 team and everyone that knew Zachary, and then also Humpy Wheeler. So tough times, but they would want us to carry on. So that's what we're going to do here. Hard to transition out of that and talk about something good, but I want to give a congratulations out to Elizabeth and Todd Thielen on going into the Slinger Wall of Fame there. Also, Cindy Nickerson and Bob Schneider Jr., who we lost over the last few years to go into the Wall of Fame too. So well-deserved honor for all of them. Especially Elizabeth and Todd Thielen. I got to know them over the last 2 or 3 years pretty good, working at Slinger occasionally. So well deserved by the 4 people who went into the Wall of Fame. So that's Elizabeth and Todd Thielen, Cindy Nickerson, and Bob Schneider Jr.
Yeah, Todd was down at Slinger when I was down there, man. They were chatting with him. Yeah, he was down by the start-finish line when I was over my traditional spot over in turn 1. But yeah, he was in the house, man. They were honoring him there, so that was a good deal there.
Yeah, he was actually at Kaukauna last week as well, and I didn't want to bother him too much. I'm sure he gets bothered enough when he goes places, so it was cool to see him up there, though I wish I could have secretly snuck off and said hi to him, but he kind of meandered, and by the time I got off of going to announcing, going into victory lane there, I couldn't find him, so. But anyway, congratulations to those 4 going in. Also, this week we're going to honor Pete Vandermolen Jr., who's going into the Circle of Fame out at Wisconsin International Raceway with the Fox River Racing Club. So well-deserved honor for Pete.
Man, he's got a ton of laps out there, man. He's definitely probably the top 5 in laps run out there. Been doing it a long time, so well-deserved there for Pete. Yep, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, just an awesome guy, awesome family. It's incredible how long they've been doing it, and I hope they continue to do it for a long time.
Absolutely, man. Yep, for sure.
Continuing the run about short track racing, Bubba Pollard won over at Owosso Speedway over the last week. I think we were doing the podcast while that was running there, so Bubba Pollard took that one home. You were down at Slinger this past Sunday for the Kulwicki Memorial. Brad JJ Mueller took that one. In fact, that's 2 in a row for him taking the Kulwicki Memorial down there, so that's pretty cool. And then down at Jefferson Speedway, Paul Schaefer Jr. and Will Reese took home the features, but it was Casey Johnson taking home the overall Orange Blossom race down there. So a couple of congratulations going out for a couple of great events that happened recently over the last week.
Awesome events this last weekend. So if you missed it, you missed it, right? Well, yeah, that Orange Blossom Special was a remake from a rainout in July. So, yeah, they at that time they were running down at Grundy's. So then, so a lot of the big boys got to race at Jefferson. So it was a good lineup, man, a good race down there.
Yes, it was. Speaking of Fox River Racing Club, let's talk about last week, what happened out there. Kyle Quella finally got his first of the win of the season out there in the Wisconsin Sport Trucks. Well-deserved for the veteran there, and he put himself in contention for the last week coming up here.
Very much so, man. That's kind of a surprise, like first win, but, had good results all along and everything. Yeah, he beat out Brady Vanderloop. Hey, I just learned how to talk today, and then Mason Lidke got a third place there. So, yep. So, good win by Kyle Quella out there.
Andy Weezy took home his second career win. Kind of amazing because a few weeks ago he was on his roof skidding onto the half mile there. So he had a lot of work to put into that car. Still had the wounds of the sliding on the roof on the car all over it, but went to work and he took home his second career win.
That's called character, buddy. That's what what would they say? Battle scars, right? Yeah, that's all right. But we call that character. Makes them look nice.
This was a really cool story this past week. Philip Meyerhofer got his first career win in the Super Stocks there. He held off Mike Gilson to be able to do so. His father, Mike Meyerhofer Jr., we had him on the program a few weeks ago, the showstopper. His son Philip picked up that win, and man, that was quite the cool victory lane to have those two in there.
Yeah, it even got tight at the end with a green-white checker. Still pulled it off, man. So, yeah, Mike Gilson couldn't. You know how stout he is, man. So that's actually a good deal, man, if you beat somebody like that. So congrats to the Meyerhofer race team there.
No doubt. Yeah, Mike Gilson was the red, white, and blue champion this year. So a lot of hard work that Philip Meyerhofer had to do to find victory lane there. The quarter-mile late models had their ending of the season this past week. Dan Thompson took feature 1, Ty Feetzer took feature 2, and Tim Ballman is the champion. He goes back-to-back.
Yeah, Rick Spoo had the lead, in the points, but had an incident in the first race, man. Kind of popped the radiator out of her, and he couldn't answer the bell for the second one. So that's a total bummer there. So, yeah, no doubt about the 6 team being a champion, man. I went down there and he had the big championship belt, man. So, so congratulations there.
Wasn't that belt just awesome? That was a cool prize to take home. I think Dan Vindalwick had that made. Him and Ginger, the owners at the track, and they did those cool necklaces earlier for the Tundra race. So they put together some cool trophies, and that belt was awesome. I picked it up, not thinking it was going to be much. There was a lot to that. That was awesome.
Yeah, Tim says, hey, grab onto this thing. Also, wow, there was some weight that was to that. So, yeah, it looked pretty cool, especially a picture with that great big trophy right next to him, man. So, well-deserved, man. He definitely knows how to rip around that quarter mile.
Yeah, he had a great season. Brent Strelka, took home the pro late model feature.
Yeah, that was a good race all the way around, man. I tell you what, him and TJ Sporowski were battling at the end. I tell you, it got really tight over in turn 2, and TJ just kind of slipped up a little bit, trying to stay off of Strelka there, and TJ got a second place. I talked to him about that, and it was just hard, tight racing. And hey, how about Rowdy Audi in the 56, man? He went out there, got a third place, and he was so impressive, man. He even put his name above the door. So, I noticed how that worked.
Yeah, and it was cool to see Strelka in Victory Lane. His wife, Vicky, just recently rang the bell. He announced that in Victory Lane for beating cancer. So that was a pretty cool win after Vicky was able to do that recently.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Riley Stenjum got the super late model win out there.
Yep, he was off. He was off to the races, dude. Andy Munday got out of the pack, second place, and and him and Grant Griesbach were just about giving her, and I think Grant was looking at the big picture there, so he just kind of rode off and got third place like that. But yeah, Riley Stenjum, quite popular victory there, man. It was a good one.
Josh Anthony picked up the figure 8 win. That car and Josh have really been hitting their stride here the second half of the season. He had a lot of things to work through the first part there, but he's got it together and took home his second win of the season.
Doesn't that thing have the most awesome exhaust system on it, man? I mean, it sounds manly. It's got a growl to it, man, and it really he got a good victory there on the figure 8.
Yep. So tomorrow night is the last week for racing for the Fox River Racing Club. Like we said, hard to fathom it. It's the Valley Liquor Fan Appreciation Night out there with Wisconsin distributors also supporting. So we appreciate all the sponsors throughout the season there, and want to give kudos to everyone that's supported there. So yeah, hard to believe it's the last week already, but here we are, man, and it's almost time to go out to the hotline here. I should have probably prefaced this 10 minutes ago when we started. We got a couple of ladies coming on. We told you we were going to have them on later in the season, maybe halfway through. Well, we got them coming on here, kind of end of the season talk. So we got Amber Barr coming on, Nicole Henry, and Julie Chase joining us back here. So we got a good one coming up here.
Well, that was a fun one the last time, man. So let's do it again, huh?
Let's do it. All right, ladies, thanks for joining us here. Julie may join us here in a few minutes, but we got Amber and Nicole joining us once again. Nicole, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys?
Good. Amber, how about you?
Doing good.
Good.
Hi, ladies. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, hi, ladies. How you feeling? The season's winding down. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? What's your opinion?
We have 10 races left still. So you're not done. No, we're like a third of the way. We're only we have a third of the way to go still for our season. So, but our weekly stuff is done now. So now he's just going to be traveling to different tracks and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm happy because I get to see my husband again, in like about a month and a half or so. But otherwise, I always get so sad because then there's all these people that you see, like throughout the year that are friends, and you make friends with these people and you sit with them and stuff. And then you don't see them for 6-7 months. And
so next spring, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nicole, how are you feeling with the season here? We kind of talked before the season started, and there was a lot of excitement here. You have a lot going on with not only Brian racing, but the kids racing and other sports. So how's your season been?
Well, I think on the Brian aspect, he's got one race left, and I think we're pretty thankful that it's about done. It's been a very hard season, probably the hardest season we've ever had, just in the wrong place at the wrong time, week after week. As far as the boys go, they still have another 3 seasons. Something new this year is Camden's old enough to race for a championship, and he's actually leading it right now. Never thought I would get so excited about points for go-karting, but definitely Mama Bear at the track right now.
Yeah, the season for Brian started out so optimistic. Obviously a front runner at Kaukauna every year. Almost won the Tundra race out there. Unfortunately, an incident late kind of took him out of contention. And then ever since then, it's just been bumping the road. How do you manage your feelings while also trying to make sure Brian's okay throughout the season when it's just one thing after another?
Well, I have to say this was probably new territory this year. He's
since him and I've been together for 15 years, I've never seen a season like this for him. And like I said, it was just the wrong place at the wrong time, week after week. And I put myself aside and take care of him, because racing's not only physical, but it's mental. So just making sure his mental well-being was good was probably my biggest focus at the time. But after last week, I think we're going to end on a positive note.
Yeah, it was cool to walk into your pit last week, and there was some excitement, more than there has been, because even though the lows have been low this year, there's still a little bit of an aspect out of you guys. I think it's probably just your nature to. There's still a little bit of positivity to be spun there, even though it's hard. So last week you could see, he finished inside the top 5, had a pretty good night, don't have to work on the car so much. So there was a little bit more positivity coming out of the 7 camp there.
Yeah, we kind of always said we might not do very good week to week, but we sure have fun afterwards, no matter what.
Yeah. It's been a struggle, though. I mean, I go down and talk to him, and he just was kind of dumbfounded what was going on with the car, and yeah, it's been on the struggle bus here. It's good to see it coming out of that funk a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was pretty reassured when he took it to Race Tech, and they told him, "You're right, the car's not right," because for a while he was thinking it was more him and just kind of losing his mojo for racing, but he feels better now that the car is in a good place.
Amber, talk about Shane's season, and then also traveling yourself as a fan, going to WIR and other tracks as well. How's Shane's season been, and what's it been like as a fan at other tracks?
Well, I mean, our season is long. We started in April. He was not points racing. So he says we're not points racing. And he pretty much stuck to that. Like for Seymour, we missed a few nights because we did go camping, and he came up to Hodag and stuff like that with me. But at 141, even though he wasn't points racing, every week he told me where he was in points. And so he did end up finishing 4th in points out at 141. He took what I would call a very long route to get there. He, for some reason he made, I think, every single show at 141, except for the 10,000 to win show, which I'll talk about that in a minute. That is the only feature he didn't make out there, but he was a B-main bandit for sure this year. He had to run a lot of B-mains, and he did good in the B-mains. So then he would transfer, into the race, but then he's always starting in the back. And I don't remember, I thought he counted up how many cars average that he passed or whatever. But for the most part, he was passing 8, 10, 12 cars, every feature that he was running. So he was doing good in that aspect. He just couldn't get out of his heat races to get put in the A main. And when he did, because of the points, that's kind of how they line him up by points average. And because he was up there in points, he always had to start like 10th, 11th, 12th, stuff like that. So that was a little bit, I don't know if you call it frustrating, because it's awesome because you're up there in points, but kind of frustrating because, you have all these other guys starting ahead of you and stuff like that, and you're trying to get around them. And but he did well with, there wasn't a lot of wrecks. Thankfully, I think I don't think he really had anything like a major wreck or anything like that this year, because it's not fun when you were, you're sitting there and he's like, well, that was $1,000. Oh, that's great. That's great. When we have our daughter getting married next year, that's great. But yeah, I think, we came to the, in August or 2 weeks ago, I think it was a sport mod turn at 141 to try for $10,000 and try to win the $10,000 race. And, I told him I'd probably talk about it on here tonight. And he got in his own head. He really did. I could see him, like we were sitting in our trailer and I was in one chair and he was on the other side, and he was just like tapping his foot all day. And like, I could just tell that he was nervous for some reason. I don't know why. I was like, just go out and do what you've been doing. Like, you do good, and he did make the feature. They did their, how you make the show kind of different this year, but he did make one of the features, but you had to finish in the top 5 to be guaranteed in the show. And he didn't, I think he finished like 11th or something like that. So he did not make the show. I could tell he was very down on himself. And just because he feels like he runs really good there and stuff like that. So we're getting past that though. We're moving on past that, and we're going into fall specials now. We're racing at Seymour on Friday, and then silly me, we have no plans this weekend. So we found out Eagle River is racing their championship night on Saturday, and he went up to Eagle River when we were there for Hodag. His dad trailered his car up for us, and we raced Eagle River, and he finished second in their feature. So I said that was a really good confidence booster for him, I felt like. So I said, well, why don't we try to go up and race Eagle River? They have extended, or they have like their payouts higher and the start fee is higher and stuff like that. And he really liked the track. So I think as long as everything goes okay at Seymour, I think we're going to go probably up and drive up to Eagle River and run that Saturday. So, but yeah, otherwise traveling track wise, yeah, I'm at WIR pretty much every Thursday for the most part. Shane spots for Andy Monday, Alex Stump, and Henry Neerdles. So when the quarter mile late models are there, he's a busy man all the time. But we've had a lot of fun nights with everyone. Alex obviously is doing amazing this year. I think he has like 6 wins or something like that. It's some crazy amount like that. And I think they have it figured out. He just has to qualify and start the heat race tomorrow, and then he should lock in for points championship for the second year in a row. So that's really cool. Just Shane spotted for him now for the past few years. So it's always awesome to be able to celebrate that when you are helping someone out. Andy too, he's been having a good having a good run here. I think he finished second, last week it was. So, but yeah, I started wearing a radio. So I get to because I never really listened to Shane Spot. He's so calm. Who are you? I don't know who you are on the radio. I was like, okay, but I guess you have to be that way. So, but yeah, so we do that every Thursday. And then I think asphalt racing wise, we're going to Oktoberfest because we go every year. So typically we have somebody that goes and races that we kind of that we know or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not sure if anyone's going this year. So it might just be us as spectators, which I'm okay with it because obviously I do my own thing. I help run the cornhole tournament that they have there and stuff like that. So I'm a busy lady doing all that. What Shane will do if there's no cars there, I don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
There's a lot to do at Oktoberfest, so he shouldn't be bored at all.
That's what I tried to tell him. I'm like, there's so many other activities. He's like, well, it'll be weird not being in the pits. I'm like, I'm sure somebody could use your help. So we'll see. I know there's not a lot of guys that come out there from Kaukauna, but those aren't the only people that he knows. So I said, I'm sure someone would use your help.
Absolutely there. What are some of the fall specials that he's looking to run coming up here other than going to Eagle River and was it Seymour this Friday? What are other tracks he's going to run at after that?
He's running. There's another special next Saturday at Seymour. He's running with the sprint cars, which I think actually the sprints might even be there this week too. This must have been kind of a last minute race that they put together. And then the one for next week was already set. And then the following weekend on Friday, it's the fall brawl at Seymour. So and they're running at 2 separate shows this year. So he's going to run Seymour on Friday, but then 141 has a really cool memorial race called the Rod Whitkoff Memorial. And their payout is just insane. And all of the different things that they've gotten from sponsors and lap sponsors. And you can really, there's a lot of money to be won. I think it's $5,000 to win. Second place is $4,000. It pays really, really good. So Shane, they had 73 cars, I think, for the captain. Shane thinks there will be more for the Rod Whitkoff Memorial just because of the payout and all the extras that are for lap stuff. So I'll be curious to see, what they get with that. And then the 19th, he runs Beaver Dam. I don't know if that's a whole weekend thing or if that's just one night. I can't remember what that is. But so he'll run down in Beaver Dam. We ran there last year, but we haven't run there at all this year. So that'll be our time. And then it's the Treek Classic at 141, which is their weekend fall special. And then we go to Oktoberfest. And then they did a really cool thing last year because it was 75 degrees out in October still. So 141 did a thing called Car Wars where it's all Star Wars themed stuff. And so if you win a race, you get a lightsaber and stuff. So Shane won his heat race and got a lightsaber last year. So so that was really fun because our son is like really big into Star Wars. So but then hopefully that wraps up our season. He did let me know. I think there's one other race down in Iowa after that. I'm okay with being done though. I think that would be enough.
Yeah. Nicole, for Brian and the boys, any fall specials or anything special after the next few weeks are done?
As of right now, probably not. Both boys are also playing football at this time, so they have games on Saturdays. So that pretty much takes up our weekends. I know GSR in Clintonville, they have a weekend special. So it's a weekend after Camden's birthday. So we left him up to him to see what he's thinking, what he wants to do. But I think we're all ready for a little bit of a break right now.
How's the football practice and everything going? Because I know there was a couple fundraisers that we saw go around and put in for and all that, and now that's getting going too. Are you? How's the practice and things going? Can you tell us more about what positions the kids are playing and what they're looking forward to most coming up on a different season here?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to racers and fans and sponsors and all kinds of people down at WIR. Camden took his fundraiser down there. He had to sell a calendar's worth of jerseys. He sold the entire thing. I think he walked away with like $300 that night. So we got his fundraiser done in one night, and that was nice. And I'm actually in charge of the football program while Brian's coaching. So trying a lot of new things, and so far it's working. Got a lot of positive feedback, and it seems like the fundraising's working. Camden's actually the quarterback. He also plays tight end too. He surprisingly was not a fan of being the quarterback. I know most boys at his age want to play that position. He wants to tackle somebody or he wants to run the ball. Unfortunately, running is not his strong suit. But so they had the first game last weekend. They did not win, but they did really well. He actually he caused a fumble and he did the quarterback sneak. So he was pretty excited about that. Madden's starting flag football. He's not quite old enough for tackle yet, which my dad coaches and I run that too. So it's just like full swing into football. They're enjoying every minute. We are every night working on a race car, practicing football, or we're in charge of wrestling too. So we've been working on wrestling too for the season because that starts come October. So just, ready for one sport to be done so we can focus on just one less thing.
How is it being a football mom? Are you a worrywart, or what's your opinion about football and being a football mom?
To be honest, I had no idea what to expect because these are 3rd and 4th graders playing tackle football. And I mean, I see these kids at recess and they're rough. And I figure, well, if they can survive playing recess football, they could probably survive tackle football with pads and rules. The first game, though, like I said, I had no idea what to expect. It is amazing to watch these kids do plays that you see like the NFL teams doing. I wasn't nervous. I think by Brian being the coach and teaching them the safety aspect, I didn't have to worry about that. With Camden being in wrestling too, he knows moves. So like he was taking kids down by doing a double leg takedown, which is one of their wrestling moves. So and my boys are pretty rough and tumble. They've been around all these sports their entire life. So I don't worry about them. But being a teacher and knowing all these other kids that do it and their personalities, I think I almost worry more about some of my prior students than I do my own kids, just because I know their personalities, and I'm proud of them for going out there and giving it their all. And it's amazing just to see what they can do.
How long does the football season last for kids?
Their last game goes pretty much into mid-October. For Camden, there is a championship. So if they win so many games throughout the season, then they can have a chance to go for the championship. So there's 2 different categories. It's the 3rd and 4th graders and then 5th and 6th graders. Unfortunately, 3rd and 4th grade football is actually kind of falling through the cracks. A lot of parents don't want them to do that. So there's a lot more flag football going on now. So we only have about 6 competitors this year because we've had so many teams drop. But I know we tossed around the idea of keeping Camden in flag football, but he was so eager to get going that I couldn't shut him down.
I think that dynamic is going to be interesting too, with flag football really taking off in the older ages too. We're seeing it become an Olympic sport. I think I saw the other day that Rajon Rondo, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, he was the point guard for the Boston Celtics for their championship teams back in the late 2000s, played many years. He's like the #1 quarterback for flag football right now, going into the Olympics and all that. So I wonder how that dynamic, I know we're a racing podcast, but other sports we follow, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that dynamic works, because back when I was growing up, and we're kind of around the same age, my football in the town that I started really didn't start till 7th grade. Then you saw it, like Pop Warner was kind of coming through Appleton, starting younger. Now I think they're starting 2nd grade in the Appleton area and all that. But now with flag football taking off, it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how that works. And maybe if tackle football starts going the later route, and flag football starts to take off longer.
Yeah, I know it'd be interesting to see too, because it almost seems like if you don't start playing these sports at a very young age, by the time you even get to middle school, high school, you're 10 steps behind, and then have to go do tryouts and things for these sports. And it's almost like some of these kids don't have a chance because they started late. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see once they get to the middle school, high school point, if you were on tackle or you are on flag, how are you going to fare then later in life?
Right.
I kind of want to go back to the boys racing this year. You said Camden's in it for the championship. How's Madden doing? And what was both their season like there? And maybe do you think you got another one coming through the pipeline here in a little while?
Well, Camden just is such a natural driver. I mean, he's either finishing 1st or 2nd every race. It's amazing. He always has a plan before he goes out there. He looks at who's around him and who's in front of him, and he'll tell you his plan and he'll follow it to a T. So we kind of figured that was his goal this year, is he wanted to run for the championship. Didn't know how he would do. We figured he'd fare somewhat in the top 5. But he made it a mission that he's going to get 1st or 2nd. He actually races against this other little boy who's about the same age. And it's one of the two of them are usually winning week to week. So he's only winning by 5 points. It's a real tight battle. It's probably going to come down to the last week. But I've never seen him out in the shop so much working on his own kart and just wanting to be out there learning on what he can do to make the kart better. Because I think he's got the talent himself, but then just he wants to know where could he run a different line, or when can he turn the wheel a different time. And it's fun to watch him and Brian out in the shop, and Brian teaching him all his tricks and trades, and then watching Camden actually go out and make these moves that they've been talking about. As far as Madden goes, he's our little determined man. He wants to win every time he's out there. And he went undefeated last year in racing. And this year, because once they do so well, or once they get to a certain age, they have to get moved up. And he's been going against kids that are also equally as talented as him. So he's been in like the top 3, but he struggled with losing, which was a great lesson for him to learn. Every week, Brian would be like, "Did you see me win on Thursday night?" And he'd be like, "Well, no." And then he'd give Brian a lecture on why Brian didn't win. But he likes to stick his nose in there. He can be an aggressive driver, but he's safely aggressive. So we haven't had to have too many talks to him about calming down. But yeah, definitely was a learning year for him, just on how to lose. And there's so many different rules changes in his category. So just even for Brian to find out what works now with different tires, different gears. And so it was a learning year for him. As far as Broden goes, he still has another 2 years. He thinks he should be out there now. When we go up to line up, they have all their rental carts. If I can't find him, I know where he is. He's inside that shed and he's trying to test out the carts in there. We came home one day and the boys wanted to go race their go-karts. And of course he wants to get in one. I look in the backyard, hear Broden sitting in the seat, Camden's working the pedals, and Madden's working the steering wheel, and they're making laps around the backyard. Broden just thinks he's having the time of the life. He thinks he's racing that. And he's actually the one that we're going to have to worry about, because he just knows way too much already. We're running back and forth, and changing this, changing that. And they're like, can't imagine when you have 3 of them doing this. And Brian and I just look at each other and giggle, and it'll be an interesting ride.
All right. Well, that was cool hearing about the kids there, Nicole and Amber. We'll come back to you here in a second. Julie, thanks for being able to hop on here for a few minutes here. Want to talk about your season too. It's been a busy one for the 47 team, and congratulations on that win with Riley last week as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
How's the season gone for the 47 crew?
Well, so we've had 2 feature wins at WIR, but we've really struggled in qualifying this year. Riley does not really like the new tire for qualifying, so we've struggled. Last year we got fast time, I think 7 times between he and Ty, and this year we have not qualified well at all. So that's been a struggle for us. So that's been disappointing for Riley and the entire team, but we can't complain about 2 feature wins, so that's been fun. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Not going to really make any changes to the car, just try to finish out the season and bring her home in one piece.
Yeah, picked up that first win with Riley a few weeks back too. That was a pretty special moment for him and you guys.
It really was. It was his first win in our car, and it just, it's not easy to get a win, and I think everybody knows that. And so when you get one, regardless of where you start in the pack, it's exciting. I cried with our first win with Riley, just because I know it had been something that for him he had really wanted to be able to get a win at WIR and in our car, and so it was pretty special to all of us. And then this past week, the win, my sister was in town, and she's never seen a race. She's every time she comes into town we get rained out, and then my grandchildren were there, our daughter and her husband, and then all of Dennis's family was there, so it was really convenient that we ended up winning that night with all of our family there. And that's what it's all about. They support us and are there for us through all of this every year, and to have them witness a win and be able to get in victory lane with us was pretty darn exciting, pretty emotional.
Hey, one of the highlights I saw this summer is when you guys went for the 250 and you had Jacob Gady in the car. And we saw Dennis beforehand, and he was just kind of like optimistic, like, hopefully we can qualify and make the race. And, you finished in the top 10, got a 7th place. And Dennis was probably the happiest I've seen him all summer. So congrats on that great run, but awesome run on that 250.
That was great. That race has not been good to us. We have not had success if either something breaks or we get in a wreck. So for us to be able to get a finish like that, and the entire team really enjoys working with Jacob. He and both the guys that come help him, Joe and Brian, are awesome. They have this amazing chemistry. You can tell they've worked a long time together. And even though he's a serious, good racer, he doesn't take it so seriously. He has fun. He really enjoys just racing, and it's fun to be around them because they make jokes. They kind of make jokes on each other. But he's never critical of the car. He's always very complimentary of the car and the equipment and the team, and that means a lot to us. So we really really enjoy working with him. And we are, I guess it's okay if I announce this, he is going to be in our car Thursday night, Friday night, and hopefully Sunday at Fest.
Oh wow, that will be awesome. Obviously, he has a lot of laps around La Crosse Speedway, so that'll be exciting to see him in the 47. Hopefully, all three days like that.
Yeah, Riley will be in his car. Riley's been running the Midwest Tour in his car, so he'll be running his car for Fest in the 77.
Sure. We talked with Nicole and Amber as well, kind of more about the challenges throughout the season. Now that we're kind of nearing the end of it, or kind of 3/4 of the way through for some of you in this aspect, what do you remember most from the challenges from this season? Are you kind of like, okay, it's time to be done? It's been a fun season, but we're ready to be done. Or are you looking forward to the next few weeks and really thinking that the season kind of went by really fast?
The season did go by really fast. I mean, with a couple of rainouts, and it seems like it seems like Labor Day is earlier this year than it has been. So I feel like it seems like we're ending a week earlier or something than we normally do. So, the same challenges I think that everybody has, just the time, the commitment, the, trying to spend time with your family and still work on the car. I mean, Dennis is at the shop pretty much every night. Friday night he's home unless we've wrecked, and Riley is really good with equipment. So we've been very fortunate this year that we haven't had a lot of incidents in the car. So there hasn't been a lot of putting the car back together, but just continuing to secure your sponsor money and keep them happy and keep the team where they're actually able to spend time with their family and not be at the shop all the time. That's probably the biggest challenge that we have every season. Wayne, obviously Pucell has his own car now, so he and Dennis work on his car. So it's a big kind of a stretch for we have a very, very small team. We have Scotty, and he comes a couple of times a week. He lives up north of Green Bay, so it's a little bit of a trip for him to come down. So it's just a challenge having a small team to keep everything running, but they do it. And we have good cars that don't break. And we had one or two little unfortunate incidents this year in the car, but no bad accidents, which really helped us a lot, kind of stay on track. So we're always sad when it comes to an end. There's always a little bit of a relief just from the we can actually spend time together and have a little bit of money, not be so broke. But it's always kind of bittersweet. I was thinking today, gosh, tomorrow's my last Thursday because I work at Gulfstream and our shop is over on Mayflower. So on my lunch hour on Thursdays, that's what I do. I go load all the beer coolers on my lunch hour. So it gets me kind of stressed because it's a big meeting day for me at work. So I'm like, oh, it's my last Thursday. I have to load coolers until Fest.
Amber, I want to come back to you here, and I'll probably ask all three of you this question here. Throughout the season so far, what's the one moment that really sticks out to you from Shane's season?
Oh, let's see here. I would say probably his finish up at Eagle River. It was a racetrack that he had never been to. I know he wasn't real happy with himself because he spun out by himself in his heat race, but he was mad at himself about that. But he really, he started dead last in their feature, and he worked through traffic and kept working it and passing cars, and he got up to second. And I honestly do believe had there been one more lap, probably because he just couldn't get enough grip off the corner to get by the guy. But every time they would go in the corner, he was just neck and neck with them. And I think one more lap, he probably would have had him. And just for him to go and try out a new track, something that he's completely unfamiliar with. I mean, we've gone up there and watched racing while we were there for whole day week, but he never raced there. So I was pretty proud of him that week. So I don't know if that's what he would say his favorite moment is, but that was my favorite moment because I definitely noticed he got a huge confidence booster after that race, just because he had been running all the B mains and having to work through all the B mains. And then kind of like Julie said, we are a very small pit crew. His pit crew is him and his dad in our shop. And then our nephews come help at the racetrack, but they're not able to come a lot to the shop. So it's just them working on the car all the time. So to see him down and out and, having to run all the B mains, and then to see him be so happy and so excited that he finished so well at a track he had never been to, that was really cool.
Nicole, how about you, both with Brian's and then Camden and Madden's seasons? What's one moment that really sticks out to you from all three of them?
So you might hear one of my little guys crying in the background now. He wants to come by Mom. Dad's not good enough right now. To be honest, it wasn't even out on the track for Brian. We've gotten a great group of friends through our pit crew, but we've also now corralled a great group of friends who our kids are their friends' parents. And there was one night where it was a rough night on the track, but even though it was a rough night on the track, we came back and all these people came down or were even in the pits with us. And it was just a ton of our friends and just made Brian feel better, made all of us feel better. But it was just more of the family and friends that surrounded us this year rather than the actual racing. It was fun to see kids get into racing who have never even been to a racetrack before, or he coaches with these other wrestling coaches and football coaches, and they would always tease him about, oh yeah, you're a race car driver. Well, then for them to come and see what it's really about and just take such an interest in it. So for Brian, it was probably more of just the family and friends that were surrounding us and enjoying just being together and getting to watch something that he loves. As for the boys, like I said, Madden kind of struggled this year a little bit, not winning. And he 2 weeks ago had a clean sweep. He won everything. And it was a different reaction to winning this time. He was just very humbled and appreciative. And when you win all the time, you don't understand really what winning is about until you fail. And so I just think he saw it in a different light, and it was just really cool to watch him experience that. And then his biggest important thing about winning that day was taking a picture in victory lane, not just of him, but the entire family and friends that were there. And that day he had little friends from wrestling and football there. So again, it was just the sport that we had, but he just was so interested in having this big family picture. And then it was like, Mom, and then you got to post it on Facebook. And I want to take it to school when school starts. So watching him enjoy the moment was a lot of fun. And just Camden overall this year, watching him set a goal for himself, do whatever he can to achieve it, whether it's on the track or outside of the track, in the shop, and also being a good sport too when he hadn't been winning and knowing like, oh, now I'm losing by 5 points and stuff like that. So just watching their experiences, their appreciation for winning and get to even have the opportunity to do it. I think this is the first year they've realized that there's not a lot of kids that get to do this sport. There's not even a lot of adults that get to do this sport. And they're thankful that they have the opportunity. And again, sometimes you don't ever get to win. And so that win for them now means something.
That is really, really cool to hear that from you. Julie, how about you? One moment from the season that kind of sticks out to you.
Oh gosh. I think Riley's first win in our car. It was pretty special. It meant a lot to his mom. She comes every Thursday night. They drive 3 hours to get here. And just to see the joy in her face to see him cross that finish line. And I like whenever we're leading, I always start shaking really bad when there's like about 10 laps to go. My hands, I can barely control myself, but having a relationship I built with Riley's mom and being able to witness her joy and her excitement over seeing him win, and even like Dennis and I being able to see each other in victory lane and celebrate all, when you put that much, like Nicole was saying, it's sometimes you never win, and it is hard to get a win. And when you do, it's pretty special. And it's the whole team. It's not just the person that's behind the wheel of the car, it's the whole team. So to be able to share that with our team and his family, and it makes it all worth it.
Before Riley got that victory, the week before, he was really, getting out and saying, I really want to win, You could definitely see the passion that was there. And I kind of gave him an attaboy, and get her done. And next week he pulled it off, and then we joked about it. And I went down there and got him all amped up for that. So, yeah, I love the passion in Riley.
We needed that.
Yeah, I remember Mark mentioned that week before Riley taking that win, it looked like you guys were going to take home the win and just weren't able to kind of cross the finish line first there. So that was really cool seeing that win. And you talked about the relationships that you've built with Riley and his family there. So that was really cool. I can't think of a better way to end it with you ladies. Actually, I take that back. I got one question. I want to ask all three of you. I don't know how much you knew of each other or talked to each other prior to doing the podcast earlier this year. Have you guys been able to connect, or in passing, do you guys feel a connection after doing this, or do you think in the future or the off season that you'll connect by doing this kind of thing?
I did not know Nicole before any of this. I knew of her husband just from being at the races, but I didn't know Nicole. And we should become Facebook friends. I don't think we are, but I knew Julie from way back when Andy and Dennis did their racing thing together. That's when I met Dennis and Julie. So I've known her for quite a while. And we talk on Facebook and yeah, at the track and stuff, we'll say hi. So, but yeah, it's really cool just to see like all the different aspects of everything and how everyone plays a role in their spouse's team. So,
Nicole, do you have any input on that of how you feel going forward, and if you'll be interested in doing this again next year or maybe in the off season?
Yeah, like Amber said, I knew of her husband too, but
I'm not sure what happened. I think we just.
So it was nice to get to see a face with a name, and yeah, definitely I agree. Going on Facebook, as far as I knew Julie, and we've talked a few times in the past, but just even seeing her now in the pits more at WIR, and definitely having conversations with her in the pits now. So it's nice to get to know other wives too that are going through this and experiencing the same things. And I definitely would do this again. I enjoyed it.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Julie can hear us at the moment here, but certainly we do appreciate her coming on as well, and I'll try to get her input off of this here and see how she feels about it. I'm very thankful for you ladies coming on. I've been wanting to do that for some time. You three were very optimistic about doing it right away, very willing, and I appreciate that so much because even for us, we know each other pretty well. I feel like crossing every week in the pits, and Amber, I've known you longer than that, of course, with my brother and all that, but this just, I feel like, took it to the next level, and this was very, very cool, and I'm honored that you guys were able to do this, and I can't wait to do it again in the future. And any time that you want to come on and give your input or give an update, you're certainly welcome to. So thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a good time, and it's fun to be able to, give people the other person's, perspective, like the spouse's perspective, because I don't think sometimes a lot of people realize exactly what goes into a racing program, whether you're, big time or you're just a little, doing something small at your local track. It's a lot, and it's fun just to be able to share that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You going to leave on time tomorrow, or are you going to stick around a little bit tomorrow night? It's kind of a tradition that it gets to be a late night on the last night.
Who, me?
Yeah, either one of you.
Well, I'm camping there at the racetrack. So, I'll be there. Although I have heard my friends, they always make fun of me because I have to go to sleep by midnight, but I'm going to try to stay up really late. Not as late as with those other guys that stay up until 2 p.m. or whatever those one guys the next day. They're just a little wild. That's too much for me, but yeah. So we'll be there. I'll be there. We'll have beers.
All right.
I unfortunately will be going home early to get all these guys ready for daycare and school on Friday, but I know 2 years ago I got to enjoy myself and maybe enjoyed myself a little bit too much. So it was good that we weren't in school then. But I'm hoping next year that we won't have to start school till September. So I'll actually get to enjoy that night.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a fun one. It's bittersweet because it's the last week, but it's a lot of fun at the same time. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night and talk in the future here. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
See you tomorrow night.
Well, Mark, I got another comment here from Julie. I said I would try to comment or connect with her, and get a comment from her about if she feels better connected with Nicole and Amber, or maybe others in the racing community as well, just to see if this has helped or how she felt about the podcast and all that. So she wrote back to me and she said that she knew both Nicole and Amber for years, but never really felt like she fit in or had anything in common with them because she wasn't a race wife or have a long history in racing. But this has helped me see that we all share a common bond, and that's our love of this sport. It opened me to feeling more comfortable talking to them when I see them at the track and not feeling out of place. That's been huge for me. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that comment because I kind of had an underlying goal in this was to get people that don't necessarily always connect and to see if there could be a growing connection or to see if there would be another growing connection in the racing community. And that's really cool to hear all three of them kind of talk about that, about how, they might become friends on social media and cross paths, or, we talked to Nicole and Amber after, and they might be connecting at dirt tracks because Amber's nephew races some kart tracks with dirt carts, and so does Nicole's sons. And then you hear Julie talk about this being more comfortable and fitting in, and that's just really cool for me to hear. I'm sure for you as well. So I'm glad they feel that way. Like I said at the end of the thing, I'm honored that they agreed to do this. We've been wanting to do that for a while. I hope we can branch out and do it with others as well throughout the seasons that we're doing this, and connect with them again throughout. So that was another good one here, and I'm glad we were able to reconnect with them near the end of the season here.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It makes you realize just, a regular fan doesn't realize, they're out there to watch the driver and go around in circles and blah, 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 right? But the things that go on behind the scenes, the wives are like coaches and they're mothers, and they've got different, like filling coolers with beer, which is very important. You wouldn't believe how important that is, but,
yes.
and doing football, and other sports, and and try to be a coach for your husband and try to keep them going, and because they can get discouraged really fast too. So, so as a normal fan doesn't think about that, man. But when you realize just how important they are to these teams and their families, man.
Yeah, and another thing that was really cool to see is, Shane's young into his racing career. It's really cool to see how enthusiastic he is about his career and how much he really enjoys the driver's side, going from kind of crew chief and crew helper to driver and team owner and all that. So it's really cool to see that dynamic change for Shane and Amber, connecting with them in different ways and doing it differently now. The thing about Brian is there were so many up and downs this year, which is not great to see. But to see how they've handled it with grace and dignity. And, I've been a part of some conversations that people have at the track with Brian, and to see how he handles that, and just top-notch people out there for sure. And then to see Julie and how she's able to connect, and the up and down season that they've had, and ending on a top here over the last few weeks here, and to see how they're evolving with their race team and their dynamic. It's just been really a joy to see three different sides of the story, and seeing how they've handled their seasons, and getting to know them, what they did prior to racing, and all of that. It just, this was really special. You and I have talked about doing it for years. We were met with resistance, first off, and I think that's important to know, because it's not for everyone, and we totally understand that. But I am so thankful that we were approached to do that by Nicole and Brian to start, and then it kind of evolved from there. So I thought that was really cool that we were approached about it after being met with resistance there initially. So I'm kind of rambling here, I guess, but end of the story, it was really special to have all those three on, and I can't wait to do it again with them and others.
We got a breaking news with Jacob Gady. He's going to be at Oktoberfest. Yeah. That's a huge story. So their season continues on, and hey, man, there's a lot of dirt racing going on the other side, man. You might get a little of a chance to maybe go out to 141. I've seen a couple dates there that I kind of like, what? I'm just kind of hanging around doing nothing. Why not go out there? So might do one of them fall specials and see how that goes. So, the season goes on, man. We wish them all good luck tomorrow night, and we'll soon wrap up the season coming up.
One date that I have seen about getting out to 141, which is super important for me, is Thursday, September 25th. The late models are going to be back out there, the asphalt late models. So there's going to be quarter mile late models, pro late models. I'm not sure if any supers are doing it, but they're going to be back out there for doing their event, and they're going to be joined with others on that night. So that's one date that I have in my mind. Plus, Amber just brought up another date. What is that? The weekend before, the 19th or something like that. I definitely have my eye on getting out to some dirt races before, Marshfield is the 27th. They have their big fall shootout up there. That's always a great event. I'll be announcing for that. So very special to be a part of that. I've got to thank Brandon Esch and Brenner, and everyone for having me up there, the Bravga family who manages it, and the DeBoer family for owning it there. So I got to thank everyone for bringing me up there again this year. And then, you go into Oktoberfest. So I'm long story short, I'm hoping to hit some dirt racing in between kind of the Eve of Destruction, which we have next Friday, and in between Marshfield there. That's where I'm hoping to hopefully hit up some dirt tracks and get dirty.
Yeah, bring your goggles, dude. Don't want to get dust in your eye. But it's amazing, though, dude. There's still a lot of good races still coming. Even though seasons are starting to wrap up here, we still have some dandy special races here in September and October. So looking forward to going to a few of those, man.
Yeah, we do. To wrap up the short track scene here, again, thanks to Julie, Nicole, and Amber for joining. But to wrap up, this is what we're looking at for tomorrow night for Valley Liquor Fan Appreciation Night with Wisconsin Distributors. So in the figure 8 class, Craig Van Rendering, who we had on a few weeks ago, he has a 37-point lead over Ethan Beatty. So Craig Van Rendering looking good in that one. Jeremy Girapata in the Sizzling 4 division, he has a 101-point lead over Jordan Fickle, so he's got that wrapped up there. Dylan Wenzel in the Super Stocks, not the season that I thought he would maybe have or others maybe would, but very consistent. He is up 20 over Mike Gilson. Alex Stumpf, you heard it from Amber, he pretty much has it wrapped up. He's up 67 points on Brazen Bennett there. TJ Sprowski came on strong to end the season here. He's 78 back. Brian Monday's 4th. And Brian Henry, even though all the challenges that he has, is still in the top 5 there. So hopefully he can finish. Grant Griesbach in the super late models is up 32 over Sawyer Efforts. So it might be hard for the pack to catch him as well. Jordan Thiel is 3rd, Riley Stenjum 4th, and Andy Monday currently in the top 5. We talked about Tim Ballman already being the champion. Wisconsin Sport Trucks could be the one to watch tomorrow night. Brady Vanderloop has a 21-point lead over Kyle Quella, so we'll see how that shakes out. But it's been a great season. I can't wait to see everyone for one more night out there tomorrow night. Racing starts at 6:30. Come on, join us. Free beer and corn after the races. Like always, it's just a great time to mingle. You heard the lady say it too. It's bittersweet because you might not see some of your closest friends in the summer that you see every week. You might not see them for 6, 7, 8 months. So that's tough sometimes, but it's a good night to have those discussions and see everyone one last time before you kind of go out there and go to fall specials and stuff that you're at where you might see them still. So, but hard to believe we're wrapping up the season, but that's what we're looking at for points for the Fox River Racing Club at Wisconsin International Raceway. Hope to see you all there tomorrow night.
Free beer will get you out there, huh? There's your incentive. And the corn's always pretty good out there too, man. So, there's a lot of fans that show up for that, man. So I'm expecting a big crowd, even though some of the car counts have been a little bit down here, trying to finish the season off. But I'm expecting a good crowd on a beautiful night, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's always one of the good ones there. So expect nonetheless there. Let's talk about NASCAR weekend here, Mark. Down at Daytona with the Xfinity Series and Cup Series. We'll start with the Xfinity. Sammy Smith would win the first stage under caution. The big things that happened in the first stage, Harrison Burton spun on the backstretch where there was no caution until some moisture came a little bit after, so it got delayed. When it got going to caution, Zilich would get out of his car and Kligerman would be the fill-in driver like we talked about. And then Quapple and Taylor Gray kind of got sideways and would spin, which ended the stage under caution.
What was up with that Burton talking about fiberglass? He got something possibly in his eye, and then he said he was being pricked in the back of his neck with fiberglass from that spin. So that was kind of a weird deal, but he got through it and didn't have nothing in his eyes. But that was a weird thing that was being announced at that time.
That was weird, yeah. In stage 2, Allgaier would win it under caution. Early on, Hill and Creed had a close call. Sammy Smith spun as well in stage 2. Sawalich, Almirola, Jones, Thompson, Jeb Burton, and Taylor Gray would get damage from that. But again, Allgaier would win the second stage under caution.
Yep, and that's caused the caution there. Yeah, Sammy was lucky he didn't get worse out of that than what he did, man.
Alfredo would stall later on. Mayer would have to pit with a flat tire. Right as the caution was coming out, or right before the caution came out, Kruth would spin, but no caution there. They were kind of easy about throwing that caution there for some spins.
And it's kind of cool. They're in the backstretch, and if they got time to correct, as the pack is all going around, I liked it, man. Keep it going. And Yeah, we saw that twice in this race. Like, maybe he'll get going, and they weren't too fast with the yellow. So I appreciated that, man. I hope they continue that.
Mm-hmm. Taylor Gray had a tire issue and would spin. He would collect Clement. Ryan Sieg and Honeyman would make some contact. Creed, Dye, Eckes, Sawalich, Almirola, Harrison Burton, Jeb Burton, Williams, Ellis DiBenedetto get collected in that one. And then they crashed behind the leaders later on, and Kligerman would go on and win as the relief driver over Sammy Smith, Allgaier, Love, Mayer, Jones, Thompson, Smithley, Poole, and Quapple. Almirola had the fastest lap, 46.608 seconds, which equals 193.1 miles per hour.
That was really cool to see a stand-in driver come up and do that. And who doesn't like Kligerman, man? He's a character, and he's really cool to root for. A stand-on driver, the last time that happened was, 2007 in Milwaukee? And so it's been a while. But quite a popular win, man. He said it was the greatest day of his life, man. And, and boy, looking at junior motorsports, man, I mean, they they had second and third and just running away. They still got the cornerstone on the restrictor plate races, man.
And talking about Milwaukee in 2007, do you remember the situation and the drivers involved in that?
You got me, man. I didn't study it. I heard about it. I should know about it. As soon as you mentioned, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, wasn't that? I think Carl Edwards was involved with that, wasn't it?
Nope. So it was Denny Hamlin was running in the Cup Series, but he was still running Joe Gibbs Racing, that 20. Was it Rockwell Automation, that red and white striped 20? And Eric Almirola was practicing and qualified the car, and Denny Hamlin got delayed out in Sonoma. So Almirola had to start the race, was leading, and he wanted to stay in the car. And he got told Denny Hamlin was on his way. Denny Hamlin still made it through. I think it was halfway or even after halfway. They pulled Almirola out of the car. Still, Denny Hamlin got in and won the race. So that was an interesting situation. Almirola was a little hot after that one for a while, and that might be even where him and Joe Gibbs went their separate ways shortly after that.
Yeah, there was feelings were hurt after that one, but yeah, dude, that was 18 years ago. Unbelievable. But yeah, that's last time that a stand-in driver got to pull off a victory, man. That 88 car, man, just shows that just how stout that is. And Zilich has got himself a heck of a ride, man. We're going to see if he can pull this off and win the championship.
Yeah, and I want to look here at the points because we only got 2 races before the end of the regular season here. So they go into Portland this upcoming weekend, and then a Worldwide Technology Raceway down in St. Louis at Gateway there. So the Xfinity Series points look like this, kind of going in. So Zilich, Allgaier, Hill, Mayer, Love, Jones, Sammy Smith, Sanchez are all in with wins. Carson Quapple is up 120, Creed is up 84, Taylor Gray is up 67, and Harrison Burton's up 36. Below the cut line is Jeb Burton minus 36, Ryan Sieg minus 56, Dean Thompson is minus 72, and Christian Eckes is minus 80. So looking at probably very close to must win for all of them going into these last 2 weeks. But Harrison Burton kind of did a good job at gaining that gap there at the line.
So, yeah, they're at Portland this week, and then St. Louis to finish the regular season off for them. So that won't down fast. But, yeah, they last a little bit longer with their playoffs, even though the other 2 series has got their playoffs set and ready to go.
Yep. So they go into Portland this weekend. Let's make our picks, Mark, for the Xfinity Series right away since we're talking about them. They go into Portland where SVG is the defending winner for the Xfinity Series. You get to go first.
Imagine that. That doesn't happen too often, but maybe in the Xfinity Series, man, you always pick good in the Xfinity Series, and I got a tough one this week, man. But hey, man, I'm gonna pick Sam Mayer. You know what? He runs good on road courses, and that's who I'm going to throw at you over there at Portland.
That was my number one pick. I was going to pick him. It delayed my pick for a little bit. I'm going to counter back with you. I didn't want to burn him for the third time this early, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's the last road course. No, it's not. They got the Roval, so they got one road course remaining.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Connor Zilich and use him for the last time here at Portland.
Yeah, I'd do that too, but I've already used them up, man, so I couldn't go that direction. So Sam Mayer was my pick. So, yep. Well, congrats on that, man. We'll best man win on that one.
Yeah. The Cup Series then at Daytona, something that happened before we even hit the track for the race. William Byron's crew chief, Rudy Fugle, was ejected from Daytona for the team making an adjustment to the splitter after passing Tech. Byron would have to start at the rear of the field and have to do a stop and go after taking the green. The team also lost pit selection. Engineer Brandon McSwain would be the crew chief for William Byron. With Fugle missing, McSwain worked as a crew chief for the Xfinity races that Byron drove for Hendrick. So there was some familiarity there.
What a bummer, dude. All of a sudden, you had to start at the back, then do a stop and go. So you lose the draft, and then they just gobbled him right up. And by the time you could get going, by the time he got back up to speed, he was at the back of the pack. So you're lapped down at the back of the pack and praying for an early caution, which actually came to fruition for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in stage one, Muir would spin a close call for Briscoe, Stenhouse, and Byron there. And then Buescher had to bleed brakes there early, so that wasn't good for him. Reddick and Gilliland would also spin later on. Reddick would hit the inside wall. And then the big one kind of later on in the stage, Wallace, Logano, Busch all make contact in the tri-oval. Cindric, Gregson, Hamlin, Hill, Herbst, Zane Smith, Stenhouse, and Bowman all get collected. It would cause a red flag. When we got going, Larson would win a close finish there to end it.
There was a lot of people that just barely got through there. Larson and Logano got through that mess. And then, also down on the apron, we saw the 1, the 7, the 77 all slide through there and got through that whole mess. Hey, man, that 45 Reddick, man, his luck has really, really gone the wrong direction, man. This ain't a good time to start having issues like that. I mean, he had points build up to get into the playoffs, but I'll tell you what, he's backing in with his luck for the playoffs here for Reddick.
Yeah, and when you start adding it all together with 2311 and the FRM lawsuit and being an open team, it's really starting to pile on that 45 team here, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. In stage 2, Hocevar would stall in the backstretch. Chastain would end up winning it.
Yeah, he blew up and then parked it, and just like that was unfortunate. But then at least Hamlin got his lap back because he had some damage, and so that's how it went with the stage 2 there.
In the last stage there, Hamlin would get into the wall and slow down. He was not happy, but when the caution finally waved for him, he did not pit right away, so he ended up getting the steering back a little bit and was able to pit, but he was not happy on the radio with his team.
That was scary, man. He had no steering. All of a sudden he hit the bank, and then he went up on the bank, and if there was somebody that was going to come by, man, he would have got smeared out, and yeah, he was having all kinds of handling issues on him, so that right front was kind of hurt in an early incident, man. He just couldn't get it corrected.
Yeah. Then Elmendinger would blow an engine. Logano would spin after contact with Buescher. Coming down to the finish, Priest would be up front, but he got shuffled late. Haley and Custer were battling for the win, but Blaney comes from 13th out of nowhere to win it at the line. It was Blaney, Suarez, Haley, Custer, Jones, Larson, Buescher, Gibbs, Berry, and Elliott. And Blaney's biggest fan, Alex Bowman, was happy because Alex Bowman ended up getting in and said he owes Blaney 5 million beers. And Blaney said, well, we'll start with one right now in Victory Lane. He was one would go down right now, so he liked that thought.
Yeah, might as well get started now. We'll start with number 1, so that's pretty cool. Wow, 4 wide at the finish, man, and 3 wide all the way back, man, and they all made it back, and nobody wadded them up too bad there. It was a good race, and to see Blaney, also they did the in-car. If you look on, I think, YouTube, they show the last 3 laps and the in-car camera, and you just watch it, all of a sudden it just, boy, the cards just fell just right and come around, and he got to the line first, man. Good win for him.
It was kind of like Byron's in-car cam at the Daytona 500. It was just like he was far back, and all of a sudden, the seas parted, and there he was. Kind of the same thing for Blaney. Granted, they didn't wreck on the last lap like they did it for the 500, but yeah, kind of that same thing. Almost reminiscent of Kevin Harvick, too, back when he won his 500 in 2007. Came from way back, further back than that, and won it,
Everything opens up as you're watching the in-car. All of a sudden, holy smokes, there's no car in front of him, and then just boogie and try to get back to the line. So, fun race, man. Daytona put out a good product this last week.
And you know what? They didn't wreck at the end of this one, and they didn't wreck at the end of Talladega either. And that is so refreshing to see.
Yeah, because more times than not, they're all wadded up. But we still destroyed a few cars this weekend. But not all in all, not too bad.
Yeah. Fastest lap went to Allmendinger, of all people, 45.751 seconds, which equaled 196.717 miles per hour. They go into Darlington with the Truck Series, where Chase Briscoe is the defending winner there for Cup Series. I get to go first, like usual in the Cup Series here. I am going to take Kyle Larson for the 3rd time.
Boy, you're swinging heavy, man. You're pushing the big one there. He's a good pick. But hey, Chase Briscoe, we know how he runs. Haven't used him yet this year. That's amazing in itself right there. He's had the 6 poles and everything, so I expect to start up front, man, against you this week. And we'll throw Chase Briscoe at you for the Cup Series.
And that's a great pick, obviously, being the defending winner. He got that win, that memorable win when COVID was going on, and him and Marissa were going through the loss of their baby and that miscarriage, and he got that important win in the Xfinity Series. So he's gotten a few wins out at Darlington. So he'll be one to watch for sure. The guy I got my eye on, and we just talked about him. I have a feel. Well, first off, Denny Hamlin. The other one is Tyler Reddick. I just got a feeling Tyler Reddick's going to show up this weekend. It's playoffs. It's kind of starting back at stage 1 here, and I just feel like he's going to have a good weekend for whatever reason. But
you need to turn it around, man. So this is the week to do it. But the lady in black, good luck, man. That's a long race, man. It's a tough one.
Yeah. Talking about the Cup Series here to end it, I'm going to talk about the playoff situation here. Kyle Larson is up 26. So is Byron. Hamlin is up 23. Blaney's up 20. Bell is up 17. SVG's up 16. Chase Elliott's up 7. Briscoe's up 4. Wallace is up 2. Cindric is up 2. Chastain is up 1. Logano's up 1. Berry's -1. Reddick's -1. Austin Dillon's -2. And Bowman is -5 to start the playoffs here.
So there isn't much spread there, man. A DNF is devastating. You don't want a DNF, man, because that could really mess you up advancing in these playoffs.
And we still got to make picks for the Truck Series here. So this is what the point situation looks like for them going into Darlington to start their playoffs. Heim is +62. Riggs is +23. Chandler Smith's up 16. Hemrick's +8. Ankram's +7. Majeski's +7. Enfinger's up 4. Carruth is up 2. Honeycutt is -2. And Garcia is -3 going into Darlington, where they started. And at Darlington, the defending winner in the Truck Series is Ross Chastain.
Yeah, and he ain't running this week, so that's a bummer.
Yeah. And I got to go first for this one, and I'm going to use Corey Heim for the 2nd time.
Why not? If he fails to finish the race, that 62 points is huge. He'd have to have 2 races probably to start getting nervous for him, because he sure set the bar awful high. But yeah, that's the pick, man. That's the guy that's been just doing everything right this year. So he's gonna be a hard one to beat. Hey, man, I'm gonna throw somebody that actually does run halfway decent, and then I've used him once. I'm gonna use him again. Ty Majeski. Big announcement with him this week, man. We'll we'll go with that. So we'll see how that goes for the 98 team.
Yeah, we talked about it on the last podcast. I think it came out there too. So going into the 88 next year, so that is massive news for him, and he knows how to get around Darlington. You know, another driver that I really have my eyes on that's going to get around Darlington really well, Daniel Hemrick. He's my one to watch that we didn't pick.
Yeah, so he's been there and then not there. You know, he's been a little bit on the inconsistent side, but when he's up front, man, he's relevant. So maybe this is the week that he's on. We'll see. He's got many laps there, so we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some news, and then the TV schedule we'll get into, and talk about some other things that going on this weekend. This was a really cool announcement here in Formula One. Cadillac confirmed that its drivers for the team's debut next year is going to be Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. It's been rumored for a while, but you kind of heard some other rumblings happening there, and they were able to lock up those two, which is really cool because you got Bottas, who was a championship contender when he was with Mercedes and has multiple wins. Then you have Sergio Perez, who was most recently with Red Bull, has multiple wins. I think that is awesome for Cadillac to get into Formula One. That's a great driver lineup for them to start.
Cadillac, I love it, to it. Yeah, they've been in dabbling in some racing and everything like that, so that's a good deal, man. Love to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Going to IndyCar then, there was some really cool news. IndyCar and iRacing have a long-term agreement. There is a new game, console game, coming out in the second half of 2026. Scott McLaughlin is going to be among the drivers who will help tremendously in development. We know NASCAR 25 is coming out this fall in October, but IndyCar is going to have their game come out in the second half of 2026. They were supposed to have a game. It was one of the years, 23, 24, or 25, and that ended up not happening. So now that iRacing and IndyCar come together, just like iRacing and NASCAR came together for the new game this year, IndyCar is coming out next year. So that was really cool news.
We really didn't touch on the Milwaukee race for the IndyCar down there, dude. It turned out to be a heck of a show, and boy, did the fans show up for that one. It looked good to see the big grandstand full of people, man.
What an outstanding! We'll talk about it now. I was going to talk about it at the end of the thing because it was kind of special to be in our home state there. But let's talk about it now since we talked about some IndyCar news. What a great event that was. A lot of passing, a lot of great racing. It just seemed like it was such a great event. The stands were packed with fans. It looked like it was a A+ event down there.
Beautiful weather, man. It sure looked really nice. You know, Nolan Siegel showed that you stay off the curb over in turn 4, man. It didn't even make one lap, and he smacked the wall, and like, oh boy, here we go, you know. But otherwise, they were really ripping around the track, and they put on a hell of a show down there.
Yeah, they did. Christian Rasmussen ended up hitting the strategy late. There was a little bit of a burst of moisture that came for just a couple of seconds, so they had to call a caution there, and he was one that put on tires, and he was able to come through the field, and he was on it. He puts him and his car in some risky situations and made it work. Got by Alex Palou late and led the final 16 laps to win his first career IndyCar race down at Milwaukee. How cool is that, man?
Yeah, Palou, even they made contact coming out of 4 when he went on around the outside, and they were trying to tell him to slow down, Rasmussen, you know, and they had the in-car in there, man, and he was crazy all over the place, just about ready to lose it. And but first victory, man. So I loved them first-time winners, and looked pretty awesome with them fresh tires on there, man. Palou didn't have a chance.
No. And it was cool. We got to meet him and Alex Rossi down at Iowa when we were down there for the IndyCar race. Just a really cool group of drivers there. Cool to see him get his first career win.
Very much so, man. So, yeah, quite popular. Looked like a great show in Milwaukee, man. And they'll be back next year. That's what I'm hearing.
And the other thing that was really cool is who was the first one to greet him in Victory Lane? Alex Rossi. And I don't know if you've seen the video. There's a video out there. Gosh, I wish I could give credit to this guy's name. Tony Donahue. I'll have to look it up, but he had a video of Alex Rossi getting out of his car, and he kind of directed him to go over the barriers, and he was able to get into victory lane, and he was the first one to greet his teammate, and he was just as pumped up for him as if he had won the race.
Yeah. We've hung around victory lane in Milwaukee. We know where that is, and so they were all around there, man. Quite a popular place right there in Milwaukee. Lots of memories right there, man.
Yeah, it was for sure. It was really cool. Can't wait to see them back next year for sure. Trucks. This is a lengthy news thing. So Kaulig is gonna join forces with Ram. And that's going to be the Ram team. It's going to be fully sponsored by Ram. So they're going to do 5 trucks. And it's expected that they're going to obtain the trucks from Spire, where they would just need to change the nose and the tail. And Spire is going to stay with Chevrolet. It seems like there was no driver announcement for Ram, although the place that they did the announcement, I think, was at a dealership that's run by Daniel Dye. So maybe he'll be a part of the program. I know he's with Kaulig in the Xfinity series, so we'll see about that. Again, Kaulig is the only planned Ram team for the trucks. The team will be based at their shop still on the RCR campus. Kaulig does own those buildings that they're in, so if something did split, they do own those on the RCR campus. Kaulig will continue to field Chevys in Cup and Xfinity while fielding Ram and trucks. And we'll see where that leads, but it sounds like they're Chevy for now. There is no talks to go to Dodge or any other brand that is under that umbrella. So we'll see what happens there. Ty Norris also said that they understand that they will have firewalls put up to keep each manufacturer satisfied with respect to any priority information there. Team will add 50 plus people for the truck program, so they're going to be adding some jobs there. And NASCAR is also working on a testing policy for the new manufacturer, so Kaulig will get some tests before February. So they finally announced Ram, who they're going with as a team, and what that's going to look like. So 5 trucks for Ram with Kaulig Racing.
So there we go. Yep, they got their foot in the door, so that's how we're going to get started here. Eventually, They'll be all over all the other series also, eventually.
Mm-hmm. Also in the truck series, Trevor Bayne is going to drive the Tricon #1 truck this weekend at Darlington. That just came down today.
Okay. He's relevant. He's usually fast, so we'll see how that works for him.
Going to the Cup Series then, Connor Zilich has a multi-year deal to the race in Cup at Trackhouse. No number announced yet, but Red Bull and WeatherTech will be the sponsors. No surprise there at all.
You would think 99. You probably would think so, but you never know. Could be 87, could be some unique number, but right now betting I would be 99.
My betting would be way different than that. I'm hearing that it's possible he could go to the 88 since he's been 88 in the Xfinity series, that he could keep the 88. And then what number does SVG get? Does he go to 99? Does he go to 87? Does he switch numbers? So not that it's a big deal. Doesn't really matter, but just something to watch there.
Boy, what a team. What a stout team that's going to be, man. That's wow. They got some heavy hitters, man. So they should be relevant next year.
No doubt. And then I kind of wanted to mention this here at the end. Fox 17 News in Nashville obtained some exclusive information that Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell and Speedway Motorsports struck a new deal to revamp the Fairgrounds Speedway and bring NASCAR racing back to the historic track there at the Fairgrounds. So some positivity coming out of Nashville, which is really cool to hear.
Finally, here's some good news, man. We were down there a few years ago and talked to some officials and stuff like that, and knew this was going to be a tough one, man, and it was going to take some time. But the news coming out of there, man, they got to go back to that place. That is such a unique, historic racetrack. It's that racetrack is older than Indianapolis, which was surprising. Not as old as Milwaukee, but, I think it's been around since 1909. What a classic track. If they've got the 400 coming up here in a few weeks, and I'll tell you what, race fans, put that on your bucket list. That is a heck of a place to go watch a race at Nashville.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was older than Indianapolis, because Milwaukee's 1903 and Indy's 1905. So where does Nashville shake down on that? Is it 1904? Is it somewhere in between there?
It would be Nashville's 1909 and Indianapolis was 1911.
No, Indy is the Speedway itself, I think, is 1905.
But if you go with Milwaukee, you go back to 1870s, man. The fairgrounds has been there that long, but for racing. But anyway, We're just doubling numbers or whatever like that. But they've been around a long time, and it deserves to be on the schedule. And I love that racetrack, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I got to get down there. How about that? I have to get down there.
And then go to Broadway Street and show you some honky tonk, and there you go.
Sure.
Yeah, if you're going to do Nashville, you better do it all out. Just ask Sawyer Efforts. He'll tell you what you think about Nashville down there. Too much fun.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see there. But yeah, anyway, really cool news coming out of Nashville, which didn't sound promising for a while. So hopefully that comes to fruition there.
Good.
Then to kind of wrap this thing up here, we got the Jim Sauter Classic coming up at the Dells this Saturday. It's a big one for the ASA Midwest Tour. Get on down to Dells Raceway Park. Mark, I know you'll be down there. I'm hoping to get down there. We'll see. I've had a lot of family stuff come up this year. So we'll see if I'm able to get down there. But that is a big one. The lineup looks incredible. So can't wait to see how that one shakes out. Get on down to Dells Raceway Park for the ASA Midwest Tour, Jim Sauter Classic.
For sure on that one. And then, hey, on Monday, the Tundra Series invades Golden Sands with beautiful weather. So it looks good from a distance. I hope they get the good weather and have an awesome event there on Monday on Labor Day.
Absolutely. Tundra Series, hopefully I think the weather's looking good, huh?
This whole weekend looks nice around here, man.
Yeah. Which we got to be very thankful for. Especially, I know we talk about the Tundra Series, but they really need a break and to get some good weather, man.
Absolutely. Just yes, we're praying for it for them. Because we love that series, man. They put out a good product, man. We will want to see them run.
Yes, we do, for sure.
Yep.
All right, so that's what it looks like. So get out to both of those places there. Dells Raceway Park for the Jim Sauter Classic 200 with the Midwest Tour, and then Tundra Series is out at Golden Sands there on that Monday for the Cleaver Classic. So really cool event on both sides there. As far as the TV schedule looks like this week, this is what it looks like for IndyCar. They're ending their season down in Nashville at Nashville Super Speedway. So Saturday, the TV schedule looks like this. 8:05 on FS1 is Indy Next Practice. 9:30 on FS1 is IndyCar Practice. 11:35 on FS2 is Indy Next Qualifying. 1:05 on FS2 is IndyCar Qualifying, and 3:45 is IndyCar Practice on FS2. Sunday then, 10:35 on FS1 is the Indy Next race, 65 laps there. 1 o'clock on Fox is pre-race. 1:45 the IndyCar race gets going, 225 laps there, also on Fox. In the 80s with 10% chance, so looks good down in Nashville. For the NASCAR schedule, starting on Friday, this is going to be Friday here, 2 o'clock on FS2 is truck practice and qualifying, and this is kind of going to be Darlington's schedule here. We're going to start with. So again, 2 o'clock FS2 on Friday, truck practice qualifying. Saturday at 8 o'clock on True TV, cup practice and qualifying. 11 o'clock on FS1, the truck series race gets going. So that's pretty early there. Stages of 45, 55, 57. Sunday on USA, 4:30 is pre-race. 5 o'clock Cup Series race gets going. Stages of 115, 115, 137. In the 80s during the day, 70s at night, 30% chance of rain on Sunday and 40% chance on Saturday. So we'll see how that shakes out. Over in Portland, we'll be all right. Over in Portland on Friday, 1 o'clock, the ARCA West practice and qualifying is, and then 6 o'clock on Flow, the West Series race gets going, 57 laps there. Saturday, 2 o'clock on CW app is Xfinity practice and qualifying. 6 o'clock on the CW is pre-race. 6:30, the Xfinity race gets going on the CW, stages of 25, 25, and 25 in the 80s with 5% chance of moisture.
Yeah, it's been hot out there, man. So see the temperature come down because they've been hitting the hundreds out there, man. So cool it off for them Xfinity boys out there.
Mm-hmm. Also, I just want to mention again, tomorrow night, Fox River Racing Club championship night out there, free beer, free corn, thanks to Valley Liquor and Wisconsin Distributors for providing that. I also want to say that it has been a great year that we should recognize the champions from the last year. Kyle Quella has been a great representative for the Wisconsin Sport Trucks. Gavin Klein was the Sizzlin' Ford champion from last year. Mike King in the Super Stocks. We talked about Bowman going back-to-back. Stumpf was last year's champion. Butts was the super late model champion, and Jordan Graciani was figure eight. So I think they've all represented the WIR and the Fox River Racing Club well. So kudos to those champions from last year, and we look forward to crowning some new champions starting at 6:30 tomorrow night.
All right, and then we'll stay up late too. Why not, huh?
Why not?
Just a little extra, it's the last time we get to see our old friend Kakana, I'll be walking up the hill like I do every year, and I'll say goodbye, old friend, and I'll see you next year.
Hey, we still got the eve. Don't do that.
Oh, you got the eve. I'm not going to be going to the eve, huh? So don't want to jinx it for you people out there. So, yeah, make that one happen, man. That's a big event out there.
It is, yep. So, all right, we hope to see everyone tomorrow night. Thank you, Tim, with the Corp Racing, Ben and Carrie with Valley Gasket for all that you do for us in racing. Thank you to Nicole, Amber, and Julie for joining us again. That was really cool. Mark, thank you to you for all that you do for me in this page and podcast. And also thank you to everyone for your support. It means the world to us. So, all right, man, we got one more tomorrow night. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll see you at the track.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.